3 myths about freelance writing. Before we really get started, we need to get into the right frame of mind about exactly what freelance writing is and exactly what you need to do to increase your chances of getting to success more quickly. To do that, we want to bust a few myths about freelance writing to set or reset your expectations for everything we're going to talk about in this course. Whenever I used to hire writers who were new to the game, many of them had at least one of the following 3 assumptions. You might too, and that's okay, but let's get them corrected ASAP. Keep these 3 points in mind as you continue this free course, and if you choose to upgrade to ProWriter Plus, where we go much deeper into some of the topics we'll be discussing shortly. Myth number 1, writing is creative. Writers tend to be creative people, and a lot of new writers explore freelance writing hoping for opportunities to flex those creative muscles and get paid for it. The reality is that most writing you'll be getting paid for isn't all that creative, at least not in the way that you think. It's hard to sell short stories, screenplays, comic book scripts, and of course, a good old-fashioned American novel. Most writers looking to make a name for themselves in the creative writing fields source their income elsewhere, whether it's a 9-to-5 job, a supportive partner, or patronage from an audience they build up over time. Of course, many creative writers also make their living doing the kind of writing ProWriter teaches, which falls under the umbrella of web and new media publishing, SEO, and content marketing, with a little bit of PR and sales sprinkled in. Though there's definitely room for creativity, it's more accurate to understand this kind of writing as tactical. There's a science behind almost every aspect of the assignments you'll be taking. Everything from the length of the article to the length of the title has a formula to it. To become a great freelance writer, you'll need to learn about human psychology, attention span, and how to tap into a reader's empathy. You'll need to know time-honored tactics for grabbing and keeping a reader's attention, how to guide them through your writing, and how to call them to action. We'll introduce you to some of these skills soon, but we strongly recommend checking out ProWriter Plus for a guided walkthrough of these complex ideas. That leads us into the next myth. Myth number 2, you're already a good writer. I can't tell you how many new writers have a cavalier, how hard can it be attitude about freelance writing. They think because they enjoy writing or got good grades in school, their voice or perspective is enough, and there's not much else, if anything, they need to learn. Friends, this couldn't be further from the truth. Unless you take a significant amount of marketing, journalism, PR, and advertising coursework in college, you don't know everything you need to know about this style of writing. And most people only study one of the fields I mentioned above for a degree. Now, I don't say this to pick on those writers, but I don't want writers to put themselves out there only to be embarrassed or discouraged that their writing is not well received by their first clients. Writing can be a very personal thing, and showing it to someone else only to get a negative review sucks. It's like singing in a way. But the important thing for you to develop is a sense that writing is a skill. It's a martial art. You practice the moves and you get better at them. I hate to break it to you, but your natural skills as a writer are simply not enough to help you find success. Which brings us to our final myth. Myth number 3, learning by experience. If you don't know how to swim, you could try just jumping into the deep end and taking your chances. Or you could get a teacher to show you proper form and teach you skills it might take much longer to figure out on your own, if you ever do. Ultimately, being a good swimmer comes from experience, but getting good experience doesn't mean you should risk drowning. Like we said before, we see no reason for you to fail over and over for no reason and with no help. But that's the reality of freelancing for most new writers and the clients that hire them. Failure may be instructive, but why start from scratch if you don't have to? Remember Alice, who told me that good writing can't be taught? She believes that because she figured it out herself over the course of many, many years of making mistakes on the job and honing her skills. Here's the problem. Alice still had gaps of her own. She didn't know how to optimize her titles or score the readability of her copy, just 2 of the many things your clients who wish to rank on Google will hope you know how to do. She also didn't think that writers should know anything about basic image editing or manipulation, while the market around her suggests otherwise. She learned by experience, and she is a good writer, but she's still missing key skill sets that separate her from the writers who make those rare 6-figure incomes. So, you choose. Slug it out on your own for 15 years like she did and learn by experience. Or keep watching as we move into the main areas you need to focus on developing in your first year as a freelance writer. We'll show you how to start getting jobs right away and teach you the skills and strategic career moves you need to make in that first 12 to 18 months to set yourself up for a long, rewarding career. Let's dive in.